Hey, everybody. Sorry about all that. Jeez. Hopefully you find us again. And you can come in with your comments and all this good stuff. Ben's coming back in. Ben's here. Ben's here. Ben, is it better now? Are you feeling better now? I feel like it's better now.
I don't know, but now nobody's here because they're all in the other one.
Ah, son of a. You know what? This
That's
world.
why I told you I didn't want to do it tonight.
World's
You didn't listen to me again.
Fingers from me. A couple of fingers on opposite hands from me. I'm going to give to this world pretty soon if I don't start getting some things happening in my direction. Anyway, never mind. All right. Hey. All right. So we'll get through it. I know you don't want to do it tonight, but we can't do it Friday night because I told you my kids got a musical all weekend. You got a party to go to. Like, we got stuff. We can't do Friday night.
I got to work and I got to work and I got to work and I got to work. And then Saturday after work, I got to drive up to the cities, visit my son on his birthday.
There you go.
And then come all the way back home and then go back to work again at 5 a.m. on Sunday.
Oh,
so yay for me.
Jeez.
Yay.
What a life. What a life. We call this living.
Work.
Anyway, big news today. Tom Brady's coming back. I mean, he retired officially forever.
I only know because Mom said texted me that he retired. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known. So, whatever.
Now,
he retired before. It's fine. He'll be back.
He'll be back. He's just trying to, what do you think? He's just trying to lobby to go to another team, right? Like trying to get to another team. And like you said, you had a wild thing you're trying to say and the internet wasn't letting you say it. So I'm going to give it back to you. Now you are
I don't care about it. It was dumb.
You think
I don't believe that. I just said as a joke.
Oh, as a joke. Okay. I mean, does Brady have any outs? Somebody told me this today, or they asked me about it, and I was like, he'll be back. And then it's like, really? You said this was the last time. And I said, well, these quarterback, like if you're a quarterback and somebody's gonna, they're gonna try to lure you in. The ego is a big lure, right? When they come to you and they're like, we'll give you everything, come play for us, win a championship, we'll give you a bunch of money, we'll get all the players you want, we'll do all this stuff for you. That's kind of a big lure. Like not many guys can say no to that. Even if you probably should stop playing. Like Aaron, I mean, like somebody, I don't know, some guys. Right? That's what I find.
I don't care what Aaron Rodgers does as long as he's no longer a Packer. I could care less. Just go away.
Do you think he's actually not going to be a Packer, or do you think all of this is like
no? Here's what's going to happen.
Aaron Rodgers ruse.
He's going to come back and want to be a Packer because of what he said on Pat McAfee, where he said, "Oh, well, it sounds like the team has been having some conversations about things without me being part of that, and that's interesting," is what he said. So I could just see him being like, "I'm coming back to play, guys. Here I am." And then the Packers are too gutless enough to kick him out of town, so they're like, "Okay," and then. Boom. Then next year he's on the books for $100 million next year, and then we're screwed and we got no money and we'll go in the tank for 5-6 years. Where if they just get rid of him now, we could be a freaking playoff team next year without his dumb ass.
JJ McQuaid, who changed his name a lot, formerly Watcher.
This guy changed his name too much. He was Watcher 22, then he was Watcher 23. Now he's
you got to keep moving.
McQuaid.
You got to keep moving so they can't keep track of you. That's the thing. David wonders, did Rodgers not have 13 years to get us back to the Super Bowl? Yes, David, that's a fair point.
But David, every time he had a blunder in the playoffs, it was always the defense, or Matt LaFleur didn't give him the chance to go for it against the Bucs, or let's see, the special teams got a block kick, or it was never his fault ever. David, you know that.
It's the Rodgers shield.
It's never his fault.
Rodgers shield is better than Captain America's shield, better than the Millennium Falcon's deflector shields. It's just the best shield known to man ever created in the history of all time. I'm going to use yours all time. You like the all time stuff.
All time.
God.
I don't really care anymore. I'm just so sick of them.
Also, JJ McQuaid, so tired of 12, dude. Seriously, people are so delusional. That's there. Lee's here. We're going to use a lot of chats and get you guys all chatting in here. You're in here to chat. We're going to give you some love here. Brady looked a lot like Rodgers that last game. Yes, he did. Looked terrible. And he's had some stinky exits, but let's examine here in a second. I want to examine a couple things and go over this with you. And I want to try to put I know this is a dangerous thing to do. It's a dangerous exercise, Ben, but we are going to try to put ourselves in the mind of Aaron Rodgers and try to look at things and just see what maybe could be going on in that mind, which I don't want to live in there very long, but yes, they always like to have it talking about them. Brady's going to be paid like 37 million to work. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, the money is a thing, Mom. That's a thing, right? Could be the case. Yeah, Burrow made it to the Super Bowl. Mahomes. See, this is the whole thing. Oh, Wyatt's in the house. Wyatt, how are you? Let's see. A lot of playoff losses haven't really been on him, but some definitely have. It's not completely one way or the other. That's true, Wyatt. I know sometimes, the defenses let him down. Sometimes it's McCarthy. But the whole argument with the overpaid, all-time wonderful, amazing, field tilting quarterback is that quarterback is supposed to be the difference. That quarterback is supposed to cover up and make up for some of your mistakes or your deficiencies. That's why they pay the guy so damn much. And Aaron Rodgers has failed to do that time and time and time again. But he and the Packers would continue to sell you that every single year the expectation is a Super Bowl. So for many, many years, Packer fans would expect a Super Bowl. Like, we got a real chance. We got Aaron Rodgers. We got a real chance to go to the Super Bowl here, guys. Real chance. No, it was never a real chance because Aaron Rodgers showed you what he is. He's proven it to you over his whole career. One time in the Super Bowl. That's it. And when there were games that were close, all these opportunities with championship games, did he have a great game in any of those championship games? Ben, name me one NFC championship game Aaron Rodgers had a game-lifting great game.
He did. Not a single one.
Goose egg, guys. Including the time they went to the Super Bowl. He did not play well against the Bears in that championship game.
He played like dog crap.
That's your guy that you put all your faith in, that the team wants you to put all your faith in, and they want to keep giving all the money to. Screw that guy. Yes, it's time to get rid of him. Let's put ourselves in Aaron Rodgers' mind for a moment here. Great comments. Appreciate you guys. Ben, Patrick Mahomes has played 5 AFC championship games in a row. 5 in a row for young Pat Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes also, I looked up quarterbacks stats recently, and Aaron Rodgers is now number 2 in quarterback rating, the one category that he could carry for so long to be the best, to hang his hat on that he was the best. He's now number 2 behind who? Patrick Mahomes.
I don't know. Okay.
Patrick Mahomes! This is where we're getting to. Aaron Rodgers sees Tom Brady has 7 Super Bowls. I'll never match that. Aaron Rodgers now sees Patrick Mahomes is going to have a higher quarterback rating than me. He's going to have more MVPs than me. He's going to have more everything than me. He's just as talented as I ever was when I was making my magical plays and became the superhero of the league and all this. So Aaron Rodgers, does he really want to, he has to see reality that he will no longer have any sort of argument to be considered the best quarterback ever. Not the most, not the greatest, not the best, not the most talented. He's got nothing anymore. He's got nothing where he's going to be on top. Absolutely zero chance. So with that, does he really want to come back and play football again? Do you expect him to? Ben, do you expect him to?
I don't know. Yes. He's guaranteed $60 million just for walking in the door. Yes, he's coming back. That's the dumbest question I ever heard.
He said he's
Tom Brady is not under contract currently.
I know, I get it.
So him walking away is different.
Yeah.
Rodgers walking away from a guaranteed $60 million just this season if he comes back would be stupider than stupid. The guy thinks he's such a genius. Only a moron would walk away from $60 million just for walking in the door. That's dumb. He'll be back. Just hopefully not with the Pack. Bottom line is, Packers got to trade him. Just trade him. Get it done with. trade all the picks conditional to him making first start of the season. And if he decides to retire, it's the same on the books as if they trade him. $40 million. Let him go. Trade him. Don't even, and who cares? If you're the bad guys, you're the bad guys. We've already been over this. Goody's got to be the bad guy. That's the end of the story. Rodgers doesn't want to look like the bad guy. The problem is, Rodgers, you already are the bad guy. And more than 50% of Packers fans. And you know how I know that? Because a lot of them are asking for him to be gone.
Yep.
And a lot of the different polls and voices and people that have platforms to talk about things, they're all saying the same thing. It's time for you to go. It's time. Nobody can stay someplace forever. It's you got to go. So just own up to it, accept it, be a man for once, and go. Bye. Thanks. We'll see you, later on or whatever. Who cares? And this is the worst part. The Packer fans aren't even. This isn't like when Favre happened, because that was.
They love Favre.
90% of the fans were pissed.
Yeah.
Only 10% were like, "Yeah, let's get rid of this guy. He throws picks all the time, and he's a complete moron and shows his wiener to chicks." Okay, get rid of that guy. But 90% were like, "Brett, oh come on, Brett!" When the defense is on the field and stuff like crap like that. And I can remember I worked for a TV station. Just so everybody knows, I worked for the TV station. The day that Brett Favre retired, and our big story was to go to all these. We went to a Packer bar. We went to all these different people's homes that were like Packer fans. I did like 7 interviews. I didn't do the interview, but I was videotaping the interviews. And all these people are just like in shock. Like we got to be it. We went to the Packer bar at the time because they were going to have the press conference at 1:00 or whatever the heck time it was. We had to be at the Packer bar. So I was videotaping the people's reaction to Brett Favre's retirement. And they were just like in shock, in awe that Brett Favre could retire. Like they couldn't believe it. They were crying. They thought like the world was going to end. And now compare that to now with Rodgers, and I think probably 70% of the people are just like, go away. Like, it's fine. And there's probably like 10% that are like, it was great to have him here, but I think it's best for him and for the Packers in the long run to see him walk away. And there's probably 20% who are like, Aaron Rodgers is the greatest ever, and oh no, we can't afford to lose him, and blah. And they're dumb. No offense, but you're dumb.
Well, or they're the people that only saw Rodgers as the Packers quarterback. Like they're young enough fans that he's the only quarterback they really remember.
Yeah, but that's not even the point.
I understand
the point is how bad he is at like making decisions with the ball. Like he's the greatest. He might be the greatest thrower of the football, but he's nowhere near a great quarterback.
Yeah, maybe he used to be.
Well, no, I don't. Well, I don't. Who knows?
He certainly isn't anymore. Like, come on, he made some very, by his own admission, crappy throws, even a few times this year.
Yeah. He said shitty.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people said Favre would go away, and they would go away forever. But then they came back because that's the thing. The players change, and the Packers don't. The Packers are the team. The Packers are bigger than any one player, and fans have to realize that it is past time. It is past time for this guy to go. So it can't happen anymore. I don't care how it all ends. I still thought for quite a while, that if Brady retired, Rodgers is going to retire because for just what I was saying before, because right now he's got nothing where he's the best. He's got nothing where it's all about him. So the only way for him to have like the most memorable time in the Hall of Fame induction is if he goes in the same class as Tom Brady. Then it can be labeled as the great. Then he can have the greatest something ever. It'll be the greatest Hall of Fame class ever.
No, he'd still play second fiddle.
He'll get in every picture with Tom Brady that he can. He'll be his buddy. Remember, because he's buddies
See,
with anyone that he's ever talked
thinking
to.
you're thinking like you. You're not thinking like him.
No, I'm thinking like Aaron Rodgers.
No, you're
who,
not. Aaron Rodgers would never play second fiddle to anybody. That's the whole point.
If he has accepted that there is absolutely no way, and he accepts reality that there's no way he's going to be considered the greatest.
He
of
doesn't
anything.
accept. He lives in a freaking fairy tale world, man.
Come on.
He lives in the world where people let him get away with whatever he wants. He never takes blame. You think he's going to live in a world where he's going to live with him and Tom Brady are on this equal level and they'll go out at the same time?
Yeah.
No.
I think he'll do it so he can get in every picture with Brady. Every time there's a picture of Brady, he's in it too.
Yeah, and then there'll be a bunch of pictures with just Brady, and that'll eat at him. There's no way in hell he would ever do that. That'd be the dumbest thing. Even he's no. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what he does. Here's the thing. If Tom Brady actually does retire, that's even more places where Rodgers can go. Maybe the 49ers will get in the mix. I know they don't have any picks left after they traded away. Well, maybe they do now. I don't know. But maybe 49ers, the Raiders, the Jets, the Dolphins, the Panthers. Come on. Keep coming. More teams. The Colts. Let's go. Let's get into a bidding war. Maybe we can get a couple good picks out of this mess or a player or two.
I wouldn't expect a lot, but David points it out. Coaches and players, people have lost their jobs. Plenty of people have lost their jobs, and receivers and all kinds of guys because it wasn't Rodgers' fault.
That is an excellent point. I was actually thinking about this today, David. I was thinking about it. Remember how when Rodgers came back and he had it's the people and the people and the people and the people and the people speech?
Yep.
Do you remember what he said after Mike McCarthy got canned? I don't think he talked about the people and the people and the people after that, did he?
No.
I don't even think he was even that upset about it, was he? Not at all. But you'd think the guy who stood by him, shoved Favre out the door so that he could play, worked with him for 3 years so he'd be ready to go.
Could be some loyalty there, but
won a Super Bowl with him. You think that would be the people and the people and the people that he cares about? No. Because it's just his guys that he likes, his selfish ass. When he wanted McCarthy gone, he threw the ball away 51 times. 51 times throwing the ball away on third down. Out of bounds. The most ever in his entire career. By like twice as much. Why? Drive stallers, which equals no points. Why? To get his coach fired. And when his coach got fired, where was the people and the people speech then? Wasn't there. But when it's him who might get replaced, the people and the people speech came out. And that's why he's a selfish jackass butt monkey and he needs to go. Because I don't like guys who are jerks. Like I said before, he said he wants to embrace the villain role. He loves to embrace the villain role. And that's great. But the Packers are known for having superheroes. We like good guys on our team. So the bad guys can go away. Go away. Please. We're done. The Packers were here 100 years now. They were here 85 years before you showed up. And they'll be here 85 years plus after you're gone. Hopefully. You are not that big that you can run the entire universe of Packers, bud. Goodbye. Please go. If anything, I hope he hears something from somebody and realizes, because it's not just Schefter and Ian Rappaport and all these other, it's everybody. It's Wildy. It's this guy. It's Andy freaking Herman. It's everybody under the sun talking about trades and trades and trades. And this guy's doing this guy. It's out there, Rodgers. Everybody's talking about it because everybody wants it to happen except for you, apparently. And Goody. We all know that because Goody, I don't know if you went back and you watched that press conference. I told you to watch that last little second section again. It was awesome. But we know that Goody wants it, and I'm pretty dang sure LaFleur wants it. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Everybody's making a big stink. One more thing about Aaron Rodgers' Pat McAfee's thing this week. I know I'm taking over the show here, but I like to get mad.
That's fine. You watched it. I didn't watch that garbage.
He was asked a question by AJ Hawk. He said this is the question that was asked of him because after everybody was saying how they turned it into something else. Well, here he went on and on about Rich Bisaccia and how great a coach he was and how he's real. He's honest and he's tough with guys, but he's there for you. And he shows you that he loves you and he's a smart guy. And he works hard and he's there for you. And he's all about all this great stuff. He says all these great things about Rich Bisaccia. And after people were saying, ooh, Aaron Rodgers has a really high opinion of Rich Bisaccia. Maybe he would go to, like, if the Colts hired Rich Bisaccia, maybe Rodgers would want to go to the Colts or blah, 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 blah. He just thinks so much about him, right? It's like, I mean, it's obvious. Like if somebody was asking about Rich Bisaccia, that's a ringing endorsement. The thing was, the question wasn't, what do you think about Rich Bisaccia, seeing how he got an interview with the Colts here, because McAfee's a Colts guy. It was A.J. Hawk asking the question. A.J. Hawk didn't ask about a specific coach. He said, what makes a good coach or a great coach or something was his question to Aaron Rodgers. And then Aaron Rodgers went on a 10-minute diatribe of whatever. I don't even know if that's words. I'm using it right. Whatever. 10 minutes, or at least 5 or 7 minutes, about how great Rich Bisaccia was. Didn't say a peep about Matt LaFleur. Not a peep about Matt LaFleur. It wasn't a question about what do you think of Rich Bisaccia. It was what makes a good coach. It's not even, and he didn't even have to. He could have just mentioned the things that make a good coach, like things that he thought makes a good coach.
Sure.
He brought up Rich Bisaccia and spent a whole 5 to 7 minutes talking about Rich Bisaccia. Not one mention of Matt LaFleur, his own coach that he has right at this moment, to be quite honest, because he's still under freaking contract with the Packers. So LaFleur, you better wake up. This guy has never had your interest in mind. It's always been his own interest in mind. And the moment that you get on the bad side of him, you'll be a guy throwing the balls out of bounds, and you'll be the guy who can, just like McCarthy was. Same exact thing. And then where's the people and the people and the people then? Oh, yeah, because the people and the people and the people, like I said, when he said it, the day after he said that speech, I said, no. The translation is the Rodgers and the Rodgers and the Rodgers, because everything is about the Rodgers. It's never about the people. He don't care about Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb had to take a huge pay cut just to stay on the team so he can make $50 million a year. He don't give two shits about Randall Cobb. Never did. Alan Lazard, he didn't even mention him. You said he made a bunch of guys' names when he said he could work, that he wanted to work with a couple weeks back.
Yeah,
he didn't mention Alan Lazard.
No, Alan Lazard.
Interesting.
He's forgotten. He's now a castaway. Yeah.
But you know what? All you Rodgers lovers, go ahead and love him. You think he's so great. Idolize the dick. Go ahead. Because if you really want to be a fan of his and a supporter of his, if you say one thing bad about him, just like that, he'll turn on you. He'll turn on you without a second. Just like he did to his family. And I know people are like, don't bring up his family. I'm bringing up his family. Because I saw a picture today. They're talking about Aaron Rodgers and trades on draft day trade. And the pictures of him and his mom and his dad when he got drafted. And they're talking about a Packer trade. And I'm like, wow. I bet his mom and dad never thought back then that their son would disown him or whatever the hell he did to him. And just ignore him and never have him be part of his family thing. And he's talking about Dave Bakhtiari and Dave Bakhtiari's brothers and sisters. And I get to see Dave Bakhtiari and the Bakhtiari family. And it's so great.
Yeah,
you ever see your own family?
Yeah, I had to find new families because he got rid of his.
It's weird. It's just really, the guy is weird. Like, he's just weird.
It's more than weird. He's just, he's incredibly spiteful. He's incredibly retaliatory. Is that a word? I think. He's a person who likes to retaliate against people, but not always in a blatant way. And you're right. Like, you burn him once and watch out because it's coming, it's coming from him. I had an experience very similar, right? Just recently, you cross one person and man, all of a sudden you're out, and that's the way it works. Some people are like that. And if they have the power to do that, that's what they do to you. Now, look, hopefully his power is about to go away. I do like the youth movement. And Lee, we're going to talk about Bo and the youth movement and what I'm excited about, and also part of the draft strategy. But we had a couple of things coming up here first from people. David's wondering where's Zero tonight. Zero sometimes gets here late. I think he's on the West Coast, so sometimes the timing's a little funky for him, but he usually tries to catch up. JJ is wondering what we thought about the championship games last weekend. I mean, kind of disappointing, to be honest. Right? I mean, like stupid. The 49ers having no quarterback. I mean, it sucked and changed the game. Would they beat the Eagles? I don't know.
Eagles,
but it certainly made it. I think it would have been a good game otherwise. And the other game was close, but it was kind of sloppy and not that well played. So
I mean, if
I don't know what the hell Joe Burrow is, just like he just takes a sack, and I get it. Like, guys are getting beat at times, but he would just curl up and take the sack, and I'm like, dude, do something.
He's watching Kirk Cousins film.
So I was kind of disappointed in that. And, And then the only thing that I will, this is what stood out to me. Two things stood out to me from the championship games. And I can't even fully grade the Eagles one because I don't know. So I'm going to focus on the AFC one. Travis Kelce is not that good
Nope.
at many things, but you know what he is excellent at? What is he? There's one thing he's excellent at, Ben. Do you have any clue?
Finding the hole in the zone.
100%. How many times do we watch the Packers run plays and other teams run plays and the receivers, rather than stopping and just sitting in a spot and being open, they run into coverage over and over and over again? Travis Kelce does not. Travis Kelce runs out, turns around, is like, oh, there's nobody around me. I'll just stand here. And that gets him a bunch of catches and a bunch of completed passes for his quarterback and a bunch of first downs. And is that hard? That's pretty damn simple. If they're not playing you man, just find a spot where they're not and stand there. The easiest damn thing you can do. And he's very good at it. And he's one of the only guys in the whole damn NFL that does it. And that's how he's effective as a tight end.
You know who else does it?
Who?
Josiah DeGuara.
Ooh, okay. I'd like to see that. Anybody else notice that? Did anybody? You guys are football people. You watch it. Did anybody else that jump out at you? Be like, wow, what if some of our guys just did that more often? That'd be kind of cool, right? I mean, you'd be open, easy target for your quarterback. I don't know. Just a thought. The other thing that stood out to me, even though it sucked that he had to have guys get injured for him to actually get in the game and be put in a spot to make plays, but MVS was making plays. And not only was he making plays, but he also was open a whole bunch of more times where Mahomes couldn't get the ball to him. MVS was changing that game. He's the reason the Chiefs won that game because he got open. No matter who was trying to cover him, no matter what type of route he was running, that dude was getting open and making plays. So good for him.
It's really sad that the Chiefs traded for Kadarius Toney, who's stinkier than crap, and somehow he got to play ahead of MVS once he got on the team. And then he gets hurt, and then MVS comes in. And to be honest, without MVS, I don't think the Chiefs win the game.
I don't think so either.
And it's like they bailed. I mean, he bailed those bastards out with his incredible play. And after the game, he also said Patrick Mahomes is the best he's ever played with. Best of all time.
Oh, boy. He has the highest quarterback rating in the history of the NFL.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, I checked it. He's in front of Rodgers now.
Does that include the playoffs? Is that why?
No. He had another. He's going to win the MVP this season. Rodgers had a was like down like 97, 96, whatever the heck it was, right? And Mahomes is like up 100. He had the highest quarterback rating in the league, I think, or close to it. So he was close. He was right. He only had that one bad year that kind of brought him down and let Rodgers stay ahead of him. And now he's like, see you later, Rodgers. See you later. You don't get that either. You're not going to get any of that. You got more than 100 picks because you threw so many this year. Aaron Rodgers can't be below that amazing stat. He can't have the highest quarterback rating. He's definitely never going to have the highest QBR. He's not going to have the most touchdowns. He's not going to have the most yards. He's not going to have the most championships. He's not going to have the most damn anything anymore. That's what I'm saying. Maybe he's just be like,
no, he's coming back for the money.
He'll take the money for the money. Okay.
I'm sick of talking about Aaron Rodgers.
Okay. What else we got?
I don't know. Whatever everybody else wants to talk about, but
let's see. I'm trying to get into it. Trying to get caught up here. Lee says too many ifs for San Francisco, but yeah, penalties. Yeah, they had a lot of penalties and some other stuff going on there. They didn't like who else here? Zero says very terrible. There's Zero. The entire postseason has been pretty lame. Ooh, pretty lame.
Yeah, pretty lame.
Kind of a disappointment. There were some good games though. A couple of good ones.
Well, the Giants beat the Vikings. That was the best. That was the highlight of the whole postseason.
That's true. That was a good game.
That was the whole highlight right there.
And I would say the Jaguars winning too was pretty good. The way they came back and won. Pretty exciting.
I don't know.
MVS officially took over for the Tyreek Hill absence. Yeah. And he was even better than that because he made big catches. He was, those are the two things that jumped out from this weekend. The
other guy is that Pacheco guy is awesome.
Oh, yes. And do you know where he's from, Ben?
No.
Rutgers. And do you know he was Bo Melton's teammate? So if you just draft a Rutgers guy in the 7th round, it's probably a pretty good bet that he might be a pretty good player. God damn. And just think the
Well,
Packers could have drafted him in the
yeah, but
6th
people,
round
you
or
know what
7th
people are
round.
talking about now? They're
Packers
talking
could have
about
had Bo
trading
Melton in the
for
2nd. No,
Hopkins and all this dumb shit.
Okay. Let's talk about
Good
that.
God. I'm so
No.
sick of these idiots.
No. No. It doesn't work. Even if Aaron Rodgers is back as your quarterback, it doesn't work. We already know why. Because guys can't work with him. It takes 3 years to figure out how to work with the guy. So you don't have the time. There's zero benefit to investing big money in a free agent wide receiver because the
And
guy
draft
can't
picks.
work. Yeah, and draft picks because the guy can't work with Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers has too many demands and too many things he makes you figure out to learn and do da 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 da.
It's dumb.
And you now have 4 guys that were rookies as wide receivers on the roster that will be back in their second season next year. Let's do the youth movement that Lee was talking about. It's time for Jordan Love to have a young crop like that to grow with and work with and build chemistry with and utilize because he's not looking at one guy. There's not a number one I got to throw to every play like Devontae Adams. I'm going to use these guys and use their talents, and I'm going to throw to the open guy, and they're all going to get fed. All of them. That's what I'm excited to see. And that's number one, why Aaron Rodgers has to move on because he can't work with those guys either. He's worked with some of them, but he's going to take a while to, even get okay with some of the new ones and blah, 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 blah. I don't want it. Jordan Love's ready to go with these guys. And finally, the Packers seem to be believers of Jordan Love. Like whatever happened from last year to this year they saw something that they believed in. Last year, if they believed as strongly as they believe now, they would have not offered Rodgers the contract to come back.
He's coming off 2 MVPs. Everybody would have said they were stupid. Everyone would have said they were stupid.
Now is it easier to trade him because he's not coming off the MVP because he came off like more of a
because he played
season?
like dog crap. And here's the best part: there are still desperate, stupid teams willing to trade, like the Jets. Let's do it. Trade his ass. I don't talk about him anymore. But Jordan Love, listen, I want to try to put some video together of reasons why Jordan Love can do what we want him to do. One of these days, I'll have time to do it.
Zero says the one story that no one's talking about in the NFL, the number one wide receiver in the NFL, had an off year with his best friend throwing him the ball. Well, he had a good year. And actually, Derek Carr is back at the Pro Bowl again. Heads up. It's kind of funny. He gets to go back to Las Vegas for the Pro Bowl as a quarterback.
Derek Carr made the Pro Bowl?
Yeah.
What?
So he's got to go back? No.
Is he going to wear a Raiders helmet?
I guess. He made a tweet about it, like, as I'm coming back for one more, Raiders.
I got to say, it blows my mind. Okay, listen. I just don't get how. So one guy.
No way Carr's going to the Pro Bowl, Zero. I don't know. He made a tweet about it. I don't know.
One guy leads a team in turmoil last year, helps galvanize the team, keep it from falling apart. They somehow make the playoffs out of that, right? They get a new head coach instead of the guy that was there, who was Rich Bisaccia, who Aaron Rodgers says is the greatest coach of all time, apparently. And then, with 2 weeks left, they decide, you know what? If he gets hurt, we owe him $40-some million. Let's sit him on the sideline. We're going to be done with him. Yet he's all he's ever done is proven to be a stand-up good guy and a very solid quarterback who makes plays and makes passes better than most people. Now, once in a while, he'll do something stupid, but he's no Brett Favre. Like he's not on the scale of dumb as Brett Favre was. Yet the Raiders just shove him off the sidelines. Goodbye. See ya. Then you got Rodgers, who's the exact opposite. He throws his teammates under the bus. He never takes blame. He brings his team to turmoil twice. At least twice, if not more than that. When he tried to get McCarthy canned, and it worked, got McCarthy canned. And then this last year, didn't want to come in and work with the young guys. Didn't want to do his thing. Said it was their problem. They sucked. Got to simplify the offense, even though he's trying to complicate it with more stuff that nobody knows is hand signals. But sure. And that guy they want back, That guy they won't say goodbye to, force him out of town. When they have a guy waiting in the wings, the Raiders don't even have a guy waiting in the wings.
Nope.
Yet they're willing to throw his butt to the Wolves. And Rodgers, we're jumping in front and let the Wolves eat us alive so he can live. Screw that. Give me Derek Carr any day of the week. He's a stand-up guy and a damn good quarterback. It's just ridiculous to me. It just shows you how backwards the Packers are. When it comes to, like, because there's no owner, I've said this before, these guys don't know what to do. Like, they know what needs to be done. But because of the quarterbacks over the last 30 years, they are too afraid to let them go, because if anything goes wrong, the fans will turn on them. And there's no owner there, to chew up the blame. But it's like, you made the mess. You drafted Jordan Love. You all okayed it. Murphy and Goody had to okay it. If Murphy didn't okay it, Goody should have been gone by now. So just live up to it and freaking get rid of him. Let's go.
Yep. But the point is, and I don't know, I'm going to throw this out there. We talked about it. We talked about the difference, and we explained it last week. The difference in Jordan Love, the way he looked in his limited opportunities this year versus when he played the Kansas City game the year before, where he had Devontae Adams and he was trying to run the offense the way Rodgers ran it. And this time he came in this season, looked like he was just trying to run the offense that Matt LaFleur and the plays he was calling, right?
For the most part.
And that's mostly the difference. But he also got better. But the Packers believe in him now. Like they saw enough now. And maybe that was part of it. Maybe they said, maybe there was some private conversations to be like, look, we know Rodgers mentored you and said to do all this crap and blah, 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 blah. But look, man, just run the plays. Just run the offense. Don't make quarterbacking harder than it's got to be. Don't make it harder for yourself and everybody else. All right? Because this offense works. Look what Jared Goff is doing. Look what these other dudes are doing. Like, just run the offense, bro. And maybe that's what happened. Now, David brings this up. Do y'all think we need an upgrade at wide receiver? And David, I'm going to say no, man. I'm going to tell you, we already got the upgrades. We got Christian Watson coming back. Romeo Doubs is a fine guy to have as a number 3 wide receiver, or the guy on the opposite side and the outside. Okay. Toure could be okay. And Bo Melton, I know nobody's talking about him, but the guy is sneaky. That was a sneaky good move. Okay. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Listen to this. So there's a recent article Wes Hawkins did on Bo Melton. Now it's off season. Talked about, remember I said before, Melton and Christian Watson, they were training together, pushing each other, running a bunch of fast 40 times, and, before the combine. And Watson was always a little bit faster. And then in the combine, he actually ran 0.02 of a second slower on his time on his 40 than Bo Melton did. And Bo Melton is not the same size as Christian Watson. Okay. He's 5'11", 189, but he's a teammate of Pacheco, and Pacheco's crazy. You know what he's like for the Chiefs. But here is something that's really interesting. Okay. Bo Melton ran, as they were training, he ran a bunch of 4.3s. Low 4.3s, 4.31, 4.30, 4.33, 4.34, stuff like that. Okay, so he's fast. He's fast. And he's 5'11", 189 pounds. He led the Seahawks in receiving in the preseason. All right, but he also finished in the top 10 among receivers at the combine in the 40, in the 3-cone drill, in the vertical jump. He finished in the top 10 of the wide receivers at the combine in all those categories, yet somehow he lasted till the 7th round. And somehow he was sitting on the P squad. And somehow the Packers just scooped him up. A guy that was a top 10 receiver in all those main categories from last year's draft. So you have that guy. You have the other 3 rookies that the Packers have had. And who knows what else you can do. But I'm just saying, that's a good crop of receivers. And if you have the right quarterback with them, who's going to play with them and give them opportunities to use their athletic ability, like Christian Watson showed you when he catches short passes, he can do something with it. These other guys can too. Bo Melton's the same kind of guy. Get him the ball in space. Let him go. Jordan Love will do that. So we don't need to upgrade at wide receiver. A veteran guy in there would be kind of nice, I guess, to just kind of help out the young guys and give a little bit more leadership. But I like those 4 young guys, and those should be the guys that primarily play the most snaps next season. Let's see. That's my takeaway from that. I don't know if you got anything to follow up on that. Let's see. More comments. Lee would take a wide receiver early in the draft. We still don't have a wide receiver 1. Why do you say that, Lee? Let's talk about wide receiver 1. Ben, what does wide receiver 1 mean to you? Because a lot of people talk about having a wide receiver 1 and how important it is to have a number 1 wide receiver. What the hell does that mean?
It means absolutely nothing. And I'll tell you why. Because in a good system, plays will get guys open. So what you need is playmakers and utilizing your players properly. And what we do need, I would say, is a sure-handed guy to go to on third down who can get open, or we can get him open on third down, and then he can make the catch, right? That is something that Randall Cobb brought last year. And I don't know. I think Romeo Doubs could be that player. I don't think he's quite got the confidence in himself to do that yet, but it could grow. And the other thing is this. I think Josiah DeGuara could be that player. Or I would say, let's get a tight end in the draft. That's what I want, tight end in the first or second round in the draft. Like a top-notch playmaking type tight end who can also block in line as well, who can do all the things we need to do. But then utilize everybody. But the whole number 1 receiver thing, the only reason why, like, I understand why people say number 1 receiver and all this other stuff, but I watched look at Jamar Chase against the Chiefs, or against the Chiefs. He didn't get open that much. The biggest play he made, he was double covered, and Joe Burrow just chucked it up in the air, and then Jamar Chase went up and made an awesome catch. But we've watched it. Christian Watson do that already. But it wasn't like he was getting open any better than most other guys. Devontae Adams, what makes him so good is the fact that he has the late hands. He's able to locate the ball no matter where it is. That's his best attribute, Devontae Adams. He can locate the ball in the air and then make the catch based on where he locates the ball in the air. He's really good at that. But he didn't have speed. He couldn't beat guys with his route running. Everybody talks about his route running. It's like, not really. But I don't feel a number 1 receiver is even needed in today's age.
It's really funny, right? Because that's you and Lee. I'm not like, your question is very valid because that's all we hear all the time, right? We hear all the time that teams talk about having a true number 1 and paying that guy, and with the way that the receiver market has gone, if you have a number 1, then you pay him. Well, then you're probably going to have a drop off with the rest of your receivers in a lot of cases, unless you they'll hit luck in the draft and have a guy cheap for a couple of years, stuff like that. But for a while now, I've been hearing so much about the number 1 wide receiver, and I'm like, how important? Like, to me, I hear everybody talk about it, but I don't think you need it in order to be successful as an offense. I think, like you said, the plays matter, the scheme matters, the overall. You need a dynamic guy that's fast that can threaten the defense deep. You need at least one of those, right? You have to have that. Need. Now, that could be your number 1 if you want to claim it as a number 1. That guy could also still be your number 1 wide receiver, but you need that. Then you got to have guys that are good catch and run guys, that you can throw a short pass to and they can do something with it. Whether that's by being elusive or breaking tackles or whatever, I don't care. But you got to have a guy that, at least 2 guys that are pretty good catch and run guys. And then if you build in like, hey, you've got some tight ends that have some abilities, great. And if your backs can be incorporated, I just think when you have backs and tight ends, and you start looking at the total picture, I don't see what a lot of people would consider a number 1 wide receiver as really being a need. I see speed receiver, yes. And then the other guys have to be able to catch and do something with the ball. They have to be reliable. They have to be tough, right? They got to make some catches over the middle, stuff like that. Working the tight ends, working the backs. To me, I think you could win with that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know what you guys think. But anyway, that's why I don't, especially with how as expensive as those guys are, I just don't think you got to have it. And if you want to look at a number one, wouldn't you consider Christian Watson could be a number one if that's how you want to claim him, or label him? I think he could be considered that.
Well, it's interesting because like Zero brings up something here where he's talking about, you get a veteran receiver in who can help the rookies, learn the system or learn how to be a pro and all that kind of stuff. And that's fine. And we had the 3 rookies, and they had Randall Cobb and they had Alan Lazard, and it helped them. Okay, well, it's their second year now. They're not rookies anymore. Number one. Number two, if you do want to have a guy, that's fine, but we don't need to shell out a bunch of cash to get some big name guy when it's going to take spots away from our playmakers. If you want to sign a guy to be like a veteran, guy like that, just make your coach be a former player, not some guy off the street, Jason Vrabel, who, what the hell does he know about playing wide receiver in the NFL? Other teams have Keenan McCardell is like the wide receiver coach for the Vikings, I think. Or even yet, okay, you want to get a veteran who's really good and who survived all these years by being smart, sign Adam Thielen. People keep saying he's not going to be back with the Vikings this year. It might be a cap casualty, or I don't even know his contract's up or whatever. There's a good veteran. See what kind of deal you can get him in on. Maybe you can get him pretty cheap. There's a solid veteran who will play a distinct role on the team. He's your sure-handed third down guy. There you go. There's your sure-handed third down guy. When you need a guy to get open and catch the ball on third down, that's your guy. Boom, Adam Thielen. You're good to go. But I don't want to see him waste money or draft picks on Hopkins or some other freaking Brandon Cooks. How many times? God, every year it's Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks hasn't done shit his entire career, yet everybody keeps wanting to trade for him. No, nobody wants to trade for him. Like, why? He's not any good. Like, why? And David says, hey, if you get these guys in there, all it does is take away the playing time from the rookies. And you're right, David. And that's what happened to Devontae Wyatt this year. Devontae Wyatt finally gets in the games because Dean Lowry gets hurt, and he's our best freaking player on defense. Gee, what would have happened if they would have played him all freaking year long? I don't know.
Yeah.
All I know is maybe he screws up a couple times a game. Who cares? He hustles like a madman. He's got good strength. He's got good agility. Sometimes he gets a little bit overpowered in the double team. But so does Kenny Clark. So does pretty much everybody on the team except for TJ Slayton.
Right.
Why didn't he get more playing time? Because he's a rookie? It's dumb. Same thing with Zach Tom. Why did we start Hansen and freaking Newman when we had Zach Tom sitting there the whole time? And we all knew he was good because we watched him in the preseason. We said he was good. Every fan knew Zach Tom was better than Hansen and Newman. Yet they still went out there with Hansen and Newman, and we got our butts kicked against the Vikings in the first couple games of the year. And it's like, what are we doing? What I want to see is us draft young players, and these second-year guys, they should be starting.
Mm-hmm.
That is the future of the team. Let's fix what we have, or let's get rid of the old and in with the new. And if that means Aaron Jones is gone, it'll break my heart, but I don't think they should do that. But I'm not worried about a receiver. These guys have had experience enough now. Now they have to stay healthy. That was their issue last year. That was concerning.
Right.
When both of the two main first couple of wide receiver picks got hurt and didn't play a lot of the time. That's bad. That's where maybe we could use some depth or something like that. We had Reggie Bagley. He had a bunch of playing in the Canadian Football League. They never got him on the field, even though in preseason he looked great. Why?
Never gave him a chance. Yeah.
He's a veteran. Maybe not an NFL veteran, but he's a veteran in Canada who was a superstar in Canada. But we can't get him on the field, even though he was pretty dang good. Never saw him. Why not? That's the kind of stuff that bothers me.
Well, and there are some sneaky
They don't give
guys
him
on.
times.
Yeah, and there's some sneaky like veteran guys that are hanging out there that are, you know, that are either sometimes end up on teams practice squads yet, or in other cases, they end up getting cut. So I would, I mean, I would rather see a move like that. If you're gonna get it, if you want to have a veteran receiver added to the group, I'd find one that you could, yeah, I mean, you could just go ahead and grab when somebody cuts him or something to that effect. I think that makes more sense because you know the veteran leadership piece, but you wouldn't have the high price tag or the expectation of playing time for said veteran because yeah, it seems like the coaches need help with that. I don't understand the whole decisions that are made. They say the GM and the coach talks all the time and all this sort of stuff about, you know, the guys they draft and the guys they sign, the guys they expect to play and blah 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 blah. But then it doesn't explain some of those things like you just said. Why aren't the coaches putting the best players on the field at times? When it's clear to basically everyone that sees what they're doing who is playing better. You know, anyone that's paying attention can see that Royce
Well,
Newman
even
was and Jake Hansen were terrible. So get those other guys in there.
it's not just that they're playing better. Maybe they're not playing better at the start of
Rudy
the year.
Ford.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we know from years and years of Dean Lowry and a year and a half or a year of Royce Newman, we know what the ceiling is there. We don't know what the ceiling is for these other guys. Why couldn't they get in the game more and show us what they have, give them experience and use them? That's the thing that bothered me. And that's what always bothers me. Look at the Chiefs. The Chiefs secondary in that game against the Bengals had like 3 rookie corners playing.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't do too bad because they had to play all year a lot of the time because they were forced to. And one of the guys, Joshua Williams, was the guy I wanted. Of course, we didn't draft him. Yeah, whatever. There's a lot of guys I was watching that game. I was like, dang, Rudy Gay, Logan Wilson.
Yeah.
2 guys I wanted a couple years back. Karlaftis was the guy I was like, either him or Devontae Wyatt were the 2 guys I wanted at pick 28. And we got Devontae Wyatt, but we never played him. Why not? I don't get it. And as far as Boyd, Zero's talking about Boyd. Come on, Zero. Come on. We just talked about that. We don't want the 3rd best receiver on the Bengals to be our number 1 receiver because he won't be. And we'll have to pay him like a number 1 receiver because that's what all these guys think they should get nowadays.
Yeah.
Just like Alan Lazard. People think Alan Lazard's going to make $11 million a year. Alan Lazard is not worth $11 million a year. If that's what somebody pays him, they're nuts.
Well, and here's the other point of view, guys, because I know most of the time Ben's points of view are better and stronger, but I'll give you this one. Let's see how this one resonates with you. If Aaron Rodgers is gone, because we know he won't listen to his coach if he comes back, and we know he won't run the offense. But if Aaron Rodgers is gone and you do restructure and have Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon one more season, then how important are those receivers really to the success of the offense? Well, they're accessory, right? But I mean, they're pieces, but they're not focal points, right? So that's another good reason. If we just get rid of the 12 and let Jordan Love take over, and he doesn't have to play Superman and just runs the offense, and we run the ball more often when we should, then having, that one more receiver or whatever is not as crucial. That's all I'm saying.
It comes down to how good is LaFleur's system?
Mm-hmm.
Can Jordan Love run the system? Can the receivers know what they're supposed to do? And, we play the guys at the right spots at the right times and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know. We don't know because we haven't seen it. All we've seen is the Aaron Rodgers crap offense. And we don't know what LaFleur even has to come to the field with. We don't know what it looks like. We need to, and you can't look at the preseason because they'll play vanilla stuff. And they also have like the crappiest offensive line in front of Jordan Love all preseason. He barely survived. And so I don't know. It's just,
I mean, and Christian
I'm so ready for something different,
Christian Watson is a monster. I mean, he did everything. Once he was back healthy, he did everything he could with his opportunities. Right? He made the short catches and he broke tackles. He ran crazy fast, outran dudes for big plays. He also caught the deep balls, caught the throw up balls, the 50-50 balls. Like he did everything you could ask him to do. And that was in his rookie season, playing with an asshole quarterback who didn't support him and basically dismissed him after one drop. And then he had injury problems and other stuff. Like that dude is a monster. And you don't think he's going to work his ass off this offseason and come back with more confidence and not, if he doesn't have to play with 12, how much more confident and lifted up he will be to the fact that if he drops a pass, he's not going to feel like, oh crap, now I'm not going to get the ball for the rest of the game. That dude is a monster. That guy, if given a fair opportunity to play with a quarterback who supports him, will dominate. And then he's your number one, no matter how you categorize number ones. And he's got the speed.
My thing is this. I have watched a lot of receivers get signed in free agency and tight ends get signed in free agency.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean, and a lot of the ones that are like so whatever, and when they go to the new team, how great are they? Are they any better than what they were when they were the third guy on the other team that they left from? No. Did the trade of Amari Cooper from the Raiders to the Cowboys really help the Cowboys? It helped them a little bit, yes. Did it help the Browns when he went to the Browns? Not really. Did he have some unreal numbers? The only guy who looks the same was Devontae Adams, looked the same with the Raiders as he did with the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
He still had 14 touchdowns or whatever the crap was and a whole bunch and whatever because they fed him the ball a bunch. But they lost a bunch of games. That's not the key to winning. Winning is the guys you have, utilizing them to the best of their abilities, especially young guys with talent. And every time we've tried to sign a guy in free agency, most of them have been tight ends, it's been disasters. Disasters. None of them have worked out. And don't tell me Big Dog, because Big Dog is not good. I don't care. Good. Andy Herman, I love watching the film on Big Dog. No, he's not that good. He only blocks lazy defensive ends. That's his only thing he can do. He can't get to the second level and get a block. He barely catches anything. He's super slow. No, he can go. We need him to be gone. We need Rodgers to be gone. I actually wouldn't mind Randall Cobb. I think he's a good calming influence on the guys. But
sure,
whatever, he can go too. Lazard, bye. Tunyon, I just don't see him as. I'd rather have an all-around tight end. Draft one in this draft who can actually do some things. Build with the young guys and get some new in. And the defense, your second-year guys need to take the step. And your guys who have been there, who've proven they can do it, need to start playing up to their expectations. And we got a freaking playoff team that could be dangerous. Period.
Yeah.
Even without, we don't even know what the draft will bring.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, But
bringing in all these wide receivers and paying money for these guys,
No.
Why? It doesn't do anything for anybody. That's telling Christian Watson and Romeo Dobbs, you know what, you guys you couldn't quite hack it. We got to bring another guy in to challenge you or whatever. And it's like, no, you don't bring a guy in to challenge a guy. If he's, you bring a guy in to challenge a guy if he stinks, like Royce Newman, sure, because you don't want to play him. But I want to see Christian Watson and Romeo Dobbs on the field as possible.
Yeah.
So that's let's get him out there.
I'm with you. I mean, I want to see what these young guys can do. And I know I've talked to Bo Melton a lot, but I think especially if he's not like considered the number one wide receiver, or he can play the role like a number 3 and get matchups against like the third best corner or something like that on another team. It's that same thing, right? That the Packers used to do when they had kind of that talented wide receiver group where it wasn't like the best guy was clearly way better than everybody else, right? When you had like Greg Jennings and you had Jordy, a young Jordy, and you had James Jones and, whatever. And you kind of had like these 3 or 4 guys that you could put out there. And Aaron Rodgers at that time could find the best matchup, right? He'd be like, man, their 4th best corner is on James Jones this play. I'm going to throw to James Jones because he can beat their 4th best corner. If their best corner was on him, he'd probably get his ass shut down. But, I can find out where some of their guys that aren't very good are, and I can attack that matchup. And then you put that with LaFleur's scheme, I think those guys can be really dangerous. And if teams want to go ahead and commit double teaming Watson, well, that makes one-on-ones for a bunch of other guys, and they should be able to win some of those one-on-ones the old McCarthy way, but hopefully with a little bit more scheme help against lesser talent, right, in the defensive backfield. So
I don't want to see 4 wide receiver sets.
I don't either, but I like
what I would rather see
of all those guys and finding weak matchups. I think you can still do that with what you have.
The other thing I would like to see more of is A.J. Dillon out of a single back set with a quarterback under center with 4 wide receiver sets.
He doesn't like my guy Bo.
Oh, just like Jordy, just like we used to do with Dorsey Levens, where you would put, we'd bring in like all these receivers, so they'd bring in all these defensive backs, and then we'd have one running back, and it was Dorsey, and he would run through all the guys and get like 6-7 yards per carry because he's going up against like 1 or 2 linebackers in there because the blocks is light because you got so many tight ends in there. But yet we give Dorsey the ball, and Dorsey would run through tackles and get freaking 8-9 yards every freaking time. Let's do that with A.J. Dillon. Now, A.J. Dillon is not as agile as Dorsey Levens was, but he's something. Or even Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones in space would be something special, to be quite honest, with a bunch of receivers out there. But that's the other thing I'd say is, with 4 receivers, guess what? Then we don't have A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones and Josiah DeGuara on the field, or a tight end, hopefully, that we would get in the draft. There's receivers out there. And I'd rather have Aaron Jones out there as much as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Like, can we stop it with the whole like 7 plays in a row with no Aaron Jones? Like a whole drive with no Aaron Jones? Like, or 2 drives in a row with no Aaron Jones? Like, what are we doing?
JJ points out Favre had multiple wide receivers throughout his career and not a clear number 1 after Sharp was gone.
He didn't. And he got slick.
And he had to play probably better.
He had Antonio hands, for God's sake. Robert Brooks was like 5'9", 120 pounds, for God's sake. He was a tiny little runt. His number 1 receiver for a while was Donald Driver, a 6th round pick. That was his number 1 receiver for a good 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Oh, 7th rounder. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think all that's 0-1 last question you bring up earlier. Would you trade a critical piece of our defense for an O-lineman? Yes, I would.
Well, it depends what the piece is.
If the guy's a good interior lineman,
what's the critical piece?
Well, if we could get a tackle, Ben, that's actually good.
We don't need a tackle. We got.
You think Bakhtiari is going to be back?
We got Zach Tom, baby.
Well, we got Zach Tom, but who else we got?
Yash.
Yash didn't look as good. Yash,
he's not signed back yet.
Amos is a free agent.
Tackles. We just let him go. They can draft tackles. They drafted Zach Tom, baby. I think Rasheed Walker looked pretty dang good in the last preseason game. Let's see him.
All right.
In the second year. I think Rasheed Walker could be something in the second year at right tackle.
I just want
Zach Tom at left tackle.
I don't want Love to be like destroyed by a terrible offensive line.
The place we need to upgrade on is the center.
Yeah,
our center is terrible.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
He's either good or he's god awful. And it's like 50-50 shot of him being good or god awful. If your center is god awful, you're in trouble. Long gone are the days of Scotty Wells, who was Mr. Solid all the time. He was awesome.
Yep. 2 tackles for Rasul Douglas. No.
I just bought Rasul Douglas' jersey last summer. We can't afford to trade him yet. We need him for
especially since this season you could just move him to safety and he'll be a Pro Bowler, like probably a
maybe.
All-Pro,
we'll see. He struggled at the slot, but
safety he could be awesome, man. If he didn't have to,
if he doesn't have to cover guys, he might be better. Yeah, if he's such like freewheeling, and just kind of read the quarterback's eyes and just pick off everything, he'd have like he'd probably have 20 interceptions in 1 year.
Good. So good. Yash does have the tender. Yeah, you're right. I don't know. Yash needs to bounce back. He had last year was a step back for him, and And I was disappointed. I had high hopes for him. I thought he was going to take a big step forward. He took a step back. But I mean, he's still got, if you look at him, he's still got all the tools. He's just got to, I think he's got to get a little meaner, a little nastier somehow. I think he's too damn nice of a guy sometimes. So he's not aggressive enough. And sometimes when guys come at him hard, he just gets beat because he's not ready for that charge. So I would like that. Jenkins, no more swapping. We can't swap Jenkins anymore. He's a guard, Lee. We just can't. We can't.
Yeah, but if Myers better at guard and
Myers is not, I don't think Myers is going to be any better anywhere else. Like he's who he is. He's not that good. We made the wrong decision there for whatever reason. When everybody else was talking about two other centers,
yeah, I know.
He's the one the Packers picked, and everybody's like, "Who? What the hell? Why are you picking this guy? What?" And that's what we all thought. And then, well, he went to the big school, Ohio State. Well, great, okay, but he's a big guy, but he kind of isn't that good at a lot of things. Anyway, all right. I think that's all we got for tonight. Ben's got to work. I got to get somewhere. I don't know. I got to apply for more jobs and figure out what I'm doing. So there you have it. I think it's a good sign with Tom Brady retiring. And I'm fine. I'm going to put it out there one more time. You guys, I think Bo Melton makes an impact next year. So if you don't like Bo, get on the Bo train. I think he's going to be a good interior player for this Packers team. And I think he can make an impact. So hope so. Also, one last note before we go. The Bucs are killing it. The Bucs are surging and kicking. They're scoring a crap ton of points. 141 points, 150 points the other night, 124 points, 130. Like they're killing it, man. So again, even if the Packers stink, the Bucs will not let you down. They will not let you down. Enjoy your Bucs. Be good, everybody. Have a great weekend. It's the weekend before. Enjoy the Manning brothers. They're not quite as good as us, but you know, they're fine, I guess. Right? Something like that. Be good next week. Still happy, till I treat you, got to find